What's up guys, my name is Ace, and Call of Duty has confirmed for Modern Warfare 4 that we'll be seeing 24 primary weapons at launch, and it turns out we've actually seen most of these shown off at some point in one of many pieces of marketing they've had so far. So we have, of course, the trailer, we have like the Vault Edition trailer, all the behind the scenes things they've shown. I've combed through all of these frame by frame and found, as far as I can tell, every single gun they've shown off, and it's nearly all of those 24 guns, plus several secondaries on top of that. So today, I'm going to be going through that and showing them all off, keeping in mind that while I'm confident with most of these, that I know exactly which gun it is, there are a few where I'm not 100% sure on, and that could be due to a couple different reasons. The first reason is a lot of the times they take a real life gun, and then they make their own version of that, so it's not a one-to-one, and therefore, sometimes it's kind of like a mix of multiple real life guns in one. And then another reason is in some cases, we just didn't get a good enough look at the gun. Maybe it's just in the background or it's really blurry or something, or we can only see part of the gun. And diving right in, let's start it off with assault rifles. And the first one that has shown up quite a bit, it was actually the first one that was shown in the teaser, is the South Korean Daewoo K2. And also it appears there's going to be the K2C1 variant that showed up multiple times as well. It's likely these are contained within the same gun in the game and it's just different variations or blueprints of it. In either case, next in the assault rifle category, of course, we've got an M4, and this was shown off many different times. It looks like they do have a new and unique model for this. It's not just like carried forward from Modern Warfare 2, so that's nice to see. Then after that, we have official confirmation of the Cast-Off 7.62 coming, since there will be a Vault Edition version of it. And this is that Vault Edition blueprint. This is, of course, based on the AK-103. Then after that, we have the HK-437, which apparently in-game, according to previous leaks and content creators that have played, this is going to be called Axion. Although keep in mind, in-game, all of these names are subject to change. And that wraps it up for the assault rifles that I'm very confident in. Another one is the one that Valeria is holding here in the reveal trailer. And this is a bullpup, and content creators have confirmed the Cronin Squall, based on the RM277, is in the game. And you might remember that as a battle rifle from the past. Apparently there's no battle rifle category that's now merged with assault rifles. And I'm pretty sure she's got that Cronin Squall in her hand, but we don't get a really good look at everything. And then finally, we've got this assault rifle right here that was shown off in the Vault Edition trailer, and I'm not 100% sure on this. There was a weapons list that was data mined from the past for Modern Warfare 4 that suggests we're going to be seeing the PWS UXR, apparently in-game called the Patriot XMR. This could be a fictional variation of that. I've also seen people point this out as the IWI Carmel, which it does look more similar to in this case. So we're not 100% sure what this is going to be, but this is a unique gun that doesn't align with the ones that I've already covered. So that's 6 unique assault rifles that we've seen so far from the promotional material. In saying that though, content creators that have played the game mentioned we also saw the Odin return from Modern Warfare 2019, and that is based on the Ash 12-7. And then there was another gun called the Hyeon Burst, which again, cross-referencing with previous leaks, it appears this is going to be the SAR 21, but we haven't seen anything like that show up in any material yet. So after that, let's move into the SMG category, and the Vault Edition SMG that was confirmed is the ISO Nightshade, and this one's based on the B&T SPC-9, which is a little bit different from the ISO-9 that we've seen in the past. That one was based on the APC-9. So while it's similar, it is a new model of weapon for this game, and we've seen this one show up multiple times in various promotional material. After that, we've got the PPSH. This one has shown up multiple times as well, and content creators did mention they got to play with this. After that, we've got the MP7, or in-game, the Vel 46, and we've seen this one in a couple different spots so far, but you really gotta look for it. And then finally for SMGs, if you pay really close attention in the background in the trailer, this soldier here is holding what appears to be a Sterling SMG. That's at least my best guess, also once again cross-referencing with the leaks that we've seen in the past. We do have that side-loading magazine, and I'm pretty sure that's a Sterling. And that's it for the SMGs I was able to locate in promotional footage so far. However, content creators have also mentioned an SMG called the WZ-55 Striga, which may be the PM63, but we haven't seen anything like that show up yet in any material. And then there was also a rumor that the Fennec, or the Chris Vector, is going to be returning as well, but once again, I haven't seen any sign of that yet. So next, let's get into the LMG category, and the LMG that's been showing up the most so far is the Finn. This is returning. This is based on the Knights Armament LAMG. We also just recently got a good look at this one, and this is actually a North Korean LMG, the Type 73. And then finally, we have what appears to be in-game the M91 from the past, or at least a model variation of that. They might have a slightly different name, and this is based on either the MG5 or perhaps the HK421, which is just a derivative of that. Next, let's get into the Marksman Rifle category, and the first one that we've seen is a Vault Edition version, and this is the Oris 8.6 in-game, based on the Q-Fix, So this is a bolt-action marksman rifle and will likely be a quick-scoping style marksman rifle. And then for another marksman rifle that's shown up a few times, apparently in-game this is going to be called the MAR-9, but this is based on the HK-G28. And then finally, in the Vault Edition trailer in the background, we can see this as well, which does appear to be a modernized Mosin Nagant. And apparently that was in the build that the content creators played, and it was in the marksman rifle category. After that, let's get into the shotgun category, and with this, we see the Resi 12 based on the Benelli M3, and this is one of the Vault Edition weapons you can get, or one of the variants of it with the Vault Edition. However, we also saw what appears to just be the base model of that as well. And then on top of that, we did see a look at this shotgun here, which I don't believe is the same shotgun, but I could be wrong on it. It's very difficult to tell exactly what's going on. This is in the transition to a victory screen on a monitor in the background of a video. But apparently, according to content creators, there was another shotgun in the build they played, and that was called the Warlord. So maybe that's what you're seeing here, or maybe not. This is one of the ones that I'm very uncertain about. And then finally, for primary weapons, we have the sniper rifle category, and the only sniper I've spotted so far is this one here, and I don't know exactly which one this is going to be. Apparently, according to content creators, the sniper rifles in the build they played were the KG-7 Vulcan, the Astaroth 5.7, and then the Signal 50 is returning as well. So this is likely one of the ones that was listed there, but we don't know exactly what this is called. So there we go. That's it for the primary weapons we've seen so far. Next, let's get into some of these sidearms. And the first one we see here very clearly is the Desert Eagle, likely in-game, going to be called the 50GS. Then in the Create a Class screen that they shared with us, we can see the Sang 9mm, and I believe this is based on the Daewoo K5, which has also shown up a few times in the promotional material. Next, this one I'm going to be making a bit of an assumption on. I believe this is an HK-45, and it also could be the case that this is the HK-45 as well. This one is unconfirmed at this point. That's just my best guess looking at these, and I've seen a few other people make that assumption as well online. And in addition to that, I believe this is a SIG P220, which in-game in the past they've called the P890. But again, I'm not 100% sure on this. We didn't get a great look at the entire gun, although we did get to see it in first person at least. I'm just not 100% sure on that, and for all I know, this could be the same gun we were just looking at, just with a different variant or different attachments on it. Now, outside of that, apparently there will be a 357 revolver coming as well in some form. Perhaps the in-game Basilisk from the past. And then there was also a data mine for the Glock 17 possibly being in the game as well, but no images showing either of those at this stage. Also, I did want to mention in the trailer, we do see what appears to be a SIG P320. However, this is on the character model, and it is worth noting that there have been many situations in the past with Call of Duty where a sidearm will appear on a character model as part of the character model, and that doesn't necessarily mean that will be a usable gun that's actually in-game. So that's why I haven't brought this one up until this point, but I did want to mention that as well. And then finally, I also wanted to point out, you can see a Javelin rocket launcher, likely called the Joker in-game, on the bottom right of the screen. And there we have it. Those are all of the guns and weapons I was able to identify so far based on the in-game footage and images we've seen so far. And one thing I've seen a lot of people talk about is the fact that we're only getting 24 primary weapons in the game at launch. And they're saying this is like way less than we've seen in the past, and it's the worst we've ever seen. So I wanted to actually look at the graph of primary weapons at launch in Call of Duty since COD 4. Keeping in mind, this does exclude carry forward. Otherwise, Modern Warfare 3 would be completely off the charts here by far. But with this, you can see, relative to previous Modern Warfare games, this is the worst in the Modern Warfare franchise. In fact, the only Modern Warfare game with fewer primary weapons at launch was the original COD 4 Modern Warfare. And on average, throughout the franchise since COD 4, we tend to get an average of 27 primary weapons at launch. So this is a little bit below average. It's not the worst we've seen. In fact, it's a little bit better than last year with Black Ops 7. But it's also not great for franchise history. And when it comes to my thoughts on that, well, of course, I would definitely prefer if we had more primary weapons at launch. I really think it just comes down to how many they add on a seasonal basis. If they keep up what we've seen with like Black Ops 7, for instance, and we see like 4 to 5 brand new weapons every single season, then weapon count isn't really a big concern for me. And if anything, this will just make the mastery grind that much easier because there's not as many weapons. But in saying that, if we don't see that level of post-launch support and we're only seeing like 2 or maybe 3 new guns per season, then yeah, I think this may be a bit on the lackluster side when it comes to total weapon count. Additionally, I know this is probably going to come up in the comments as well. Yes, they are once again using fictional names for most of the guns. And this topic's come up many times in the past. To my knowledge, this has nothing to do with licensing. I see people bring that up all the time as the reason. I don't believe it has anything to do with licensing, and instead it just has to do with limiting liability for lawsuits, because there have been lawsuits against Call of Duty in the past because they used to use real-life guns, and from the details I remember, at least, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, the victims of some shootings have sued Call of Duty in the past for apparently bringing attention to real-life guns, and that's how the shooter found out about that real-life gun was in Call of Duty, which obviously sounds like quite a big stretch, but I think they just wanted to limit liability here and play it safe, and I believe that's why they actually use the fictional names. And I know many other games don't do that, but Call of Duty is like the big obvious target because it is so mainstream. Either way, whatever the reason is, as a player, I would much prefer if they use the real-life gun names and the real-life guns. I think that would just help with the overall immersion that much more. It would make things feel a bit more real and grounded, and it would just make the setting and the story feel a bit more grounded in my universe, for instance, and not some totally fictional universe. But as you can see, that's clearly not changing this time around for Call of Duty. And with that, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about this current weapon list so far? Like, how are you feeling about certain individual guns that are coming? Are there any that you're really excited about, or any others that maybe you're unhappy to see in the game? And how are you feeling about the total weapon count at launch? Do you guys feel like there should be far more than this, or are you fine with that level, especially if we're getting solid post-launch content support? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.